G'day folks. I've got a bit of a update on the moulding machine. I haven't started stripping it just yet, apart from stripping covers and cosmetic stuff off. As you can see, I've pretty much exposed most of the workings of it, including the injection unit, which is very nicely built. Looks like Battenfeld make most of these parts themselves. There's very little industry standard componentry in it, apart from what looks like a linear potentiometer, or possibly an encoder, although it seems to be, yeah, looking at the symbol, that's like a linear potentiometer. There's one up there, there's the end of the rod, there's one on there, and I think there's one down there for the ejector. That's about it. But yeah, the valving and things are fairly industry standard. That motor and belt drive is. That's belt drive straight to the screw. You can see there's a shaft up in there which drives into the barrel. That's the mixing and melting screw, the melt screw, or whatever you want to call it. The motor's a Danfoss OMS 30. It's a smaller version of the one I got off the Engel injection moulder, which is also an Austrian made machine. That's the big one off the Engel. But that was it was like a 60 or 80 ton clamp force machine. This is only a 35, so it doesn't have anywhere near the shot size or the barrel size. Maximum shot size in plastic material is 49 grams. That's it. Once you've wound all the way back to the maximum travel of the screw, you've got 49 grams of material to work with, effectively anyway. So it's a fairly small machine. It's not going to stay in one piece. I've got no use for it, nor do I have any tooling or budget for tooling or power supply or room or anything like that. Unfortunately, this has to be stripped down and gotten rid of fairly quickly because it takes up a lot of room in here. I'm not going to be turning it into a hydraulic press due to the complexity and very proprietary design of the cylinders. I will try and fire it up. I have a video which I've been trying to encode and upload, but it's been crashing lately. I don't know if it's just me or if it's YouTube, but I'll try and upload this raw file and see how that goes. But I'm thinking I'm having problems with the actual video that I've made. Either way, it wasn't that spectacular. I've got the control panel and everything to power up, but as soon as I try and start the motor, it just basically dims the lights to the point where the computer UPS kicks in. It's pulling the whole shed down to a low enough voltage that the UPS wants to kick in. So I don't think it's a problem with the machine. I think it's how I've got it wired. It's only like a 5.5 or 6 horse motor. It's 7.5 kilowatts, so that should be roughly 5 horsepower. That's not much. The air conditioner I'm running at the moment is almost that much. So yeah, if I shut everything down and have the motor wired properly, it should work. But the mould safety systems, mould protection and everything, I'm going to have a bit of a shit fit if I try and do things without it knowing. It's a very smart system, a very safe system, and those safeties are going to get in the way. But apart from that, yeah, I've mounted the injection unit up properly as a horizontal mount. It was too unstable and difficult to work on, too dangerous to work on as it was just sitting on the top, particularly after I took the base plate off it. Right now I'm just going to take this tool out. I'm going to get the trolley jack out the back of the Micra and just jack up underneath it with a block of timber and lower it down and get it out. There's no need for it to be here. I'll take it back to work tomorrow, which is Monday. They can have it back. I'll just keep the water fittings and whatever else, maybe the backing plate. It's got a 1-inch thick backing plate there. But the tool itself's never going to be used again. I just don't want it sitting around because it's proprietary design. Anyway, fairly serious stuff. I like the little timing belt drive, like a supercharger drive. There's some really nice parts in here. Really nice stuff. Solid and heavy too. I can push this back manually. This is the basically the barrel and injection unit. I can push that back manually against the fluid that's inside this piston, or I guess it's like a dual ram system, and it doesn't seem to mind. So I've been able to get the nozzle almost all the way back clear of the tool, which is good. It just springs back, so I'm guessing maybe having sat for so long and then being inverted, maybe a bit of I'm drawing air into the system by pushing back manually. but as soon as the pump starts it's going to flood that with fluid and it'll work properly. But it used to be hard up against that, almost hard up against that proximity sensor. So that's how far back I've moved it, and it can move another 1.5 inches. It just sprung back when I was trying to unscrew the nozzle. Either way, upon closer inspection of the panel I'm learning more about what it all means. It's all pretty straightforward. That's ejector, that's mould opening and cycle time, that's mould close and mould protection. You set your clamping force and PSI and everything like that, and speed, 1, 2 and 3, all that sort of stuff set through it. Looks like you've got core control here for removable core plugs. Cooling time from injection, injection unit retraction, travel, temperatures, that's more temperature control there, your temperature zones. For the heating bands, 1, 2 and 3, it's got 3 heating bands, one of which is broken, the nozzle one's broken. That's injection stage. So it's pretty straightforward. It's completely different to what I've worked on in the past, but the principle's still the same. So yeah, not that I expect this to work properly at all, given the low voltage, and well, it's designed for 220 volts. I just got to work out a way to get more current to it without doing any illegal modifications to my meter panel, because this thing's going to use some amps. I mean, not a tremendous amount of amps, it's just a matter of distributing it safely so as not to melt any household wiring. I know my good friend Andy, Photonic Induction, melted the insulation off some of his household wiring one day trying a big transformer. I don't want to have to do that. I'll have to rewire my house. Anyway, we'll give it a test run if I can get the hydraulics up to working standard. It has a half-hour warm-up cycle alone, so it's not just a matter of turning it on and going for it. The hydraulic oil has to heat up. I could probably try and preheat it by cycling hot water through the heat exchanger, but the oil also needs to be cycling to distribute the heat through the tank and everything. The whole thing has to warm up to a certain temperature before the control will actually go online. So you start the pump, and just let it sit for half an hour while the heating bands come up and the pump comes up and all that sort of stuff. So it's a fair bit of power usage, but it'll be fun. I'll make it work, I'm pretty sure. At least I hope. Anyway, thanks for watching.